Roar!
Ew. Silver-Tongued Tricksters by RarityEQM. Rarity threw her head back and mirthfully closed her eyes, belting out of a laugh at the pouting magician before her. Trixie Lulamoon, who walked into town and showed off like she was the greatest magician on the planet. Trixie Lulamoon, who ridiculed her friends and made fools of them all. Trixie Lulamoon, who had turned the lovely fashionista's beautiful mane green. Ugh. Trixie Lulamoon, who was standing in the doorway of the Carousel Boutique, demanding for her cape to be fixed for her next performance. And darling, run it by me again. Why exactly would I devote my skills to some pony who had the audacity to assault my person and fashion in jade of all colors? Rarity snarled, quietly, with a forceful kick of her mane in Trixie's direction. The blue unicorn gave a sigh and held back an insult. She knew full well that requesting Rarity's help was going to be a challenge. So far, she'd not been disappointed. Granted, it had been months and months ago when all of this had happened, before she'd stopped seeing Twilight as a rival and more of a mere friend. Still, just because she was on good terms with Twilight didn't mean good terms with Twilight's friends. She'd hoped that makes things slightly easier. She'd hoped.
The great and powerful Trixie requires her wizard's cape mended. You are a mender. Do your job!
Trixie spouted, only to have Rarity chuckle coldly, prancing through her boutique and collecting materials here and there for whatever she currently was working on.
And as a mender and a heavily sought-after one at that, I get to pick and choose my clients, and I choose for you to go away,
she said flatly, shooing away at Trixie with an empty hoof. For a long few moments, Trixie stared at the cape Rarity had shuffled into her arms. She'd rejected her offer. Trixie blinked in awe and angrily tilted her head to one side.
How can Twilight put up with you ponies? This is why Trixie goes on so many trips out of town,
Trixie grumbled.
And I look forward to each and every one of them. Why don't you take one now? Tut, darling, I've things to do.
Rarity snipped while Trixie glared quietly in turn.
Do you know what Trixie set out to do today?
She asked haughtily. Rarity rolled her eyes.
Be a slightly less hateable unicorn,
the fashionista jeered. Trixie scowled.
Fix her cape! And that is exactly what Trixie is going to accomplish. Trixie shall not leave until it is fixed.
Trixie snarled. At this point, Rarity threw her head back and laughed, and laughed, and laughed.
Oh my! Twilight didn't say you were practicing your comedy routine. That is absolute gold, darling. Very funny. Hilarious even. Now you may leave through the door or through the wall. I am the element of generosity after all, so I'm giving this choice to you.
Rarity squeaked with a bright and shiny smile. Trixie's ears fell to either side of her skull and slowly the cerulean magician turned towards the door, flinging it open with a sour burst of magic and stepping outside. Rarity watched Trixie stand there, and for a long few moments she stared directly to her left. After nearly a full minute, she sighed and turned around, peering back in at Rarity sadly. "But you have to," she said softly. Rarity perked an ear and leaned over her sewing table with a seething scowl etched across her features. Oh no, she did not.
I have to?
She asked slowly. Trixie nodded her head.
Trixie is the best, the absolute very best mage in all of Equestria. Trixie only associates among peers with the very best. Therefore, Trixie only wears the very best. Trixie must have the finest fashions. Trixie must have her cape serviced by only the finest skill and the finest hoofs in Equestria. You. Only your skill is good enough for Trixie's garments. Only your training and talent can put the finesse upon her clothing that Trixie deserves. Trixie is not ashamed to let another pony take care of her wardrobe needs. But only one pony in the world has the skill needed to make Trixie's outfit shine like diamonds. Please? She asked, offering Rarity her best puppy eyes. To her surprise, Rarity set her sights on the magician instead of the sewing machine sitting in front of her. They stared at each other for what felt like minutes, before Rarity finally rolled her eyes and let her shoulders slump slightly. Pick it up this evening, she sighed quietly, grasping Trixie's cape and levitating the costume into the air and over towards her, while Trixie quickly nodded her head and offered a small smile. The great and powerful Trixie appreciates your assistance, she mumbled quietly, before softly turning on her hoofs and trotting out the door before Rarity could change her mind. Outside, and coincidentally directly out of view of the boutique's doorway, stood Twilight Sparkle, who offered Trixie a nervous smile. So, how'd it go? I don't see your clothes. Did she accept the job? You did compliment her, right? Please tell me you two didn't get into another fight, she whimpered. Trixie gave a little sigh. No, Twilight, we did not get into a fight. Making friends with your friends is proving to be more challenging than Trixie expected. Of course, in the end she bent to Trixie's charms, like every pony does. So let's get this over with. Who's next on your little list? Trixie groaned. Applejack, Twilight explained. Trixie narrowed her eyes. Let's get her done. Author's note. Unedited, since this is written at 12:52 p.m. with a sleepless night before Hoof. Like usual. So Trixie makes nice with Twilight in all of these stories and Twilight's friends just go with it. I figured eventually Twilight would beg Trixie to get along with her other friends, and here we are. Hello everyone, this is Visual Pony from Pony&Wolf Productions, and I thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this video. At this point, I want to thank all of our amazing patrons on Patreon for supporting this channel with their monthly donations and keeping the lights on around here. Now, more than ever, it is important that you support your favorite content creators, because due to YouTube's new content policy changes, we, along with other content creators, had to demonetize a lot of our most profitable videos. For us, those are the Fallout Equestria stories. As you can see on the graph on screen right now, our earnings per video used to be relatively okay. Even though the earnings were never enough for a viable career, it was enough for a good, decent side income. Now we are struggling to pay our bills. If you want to support us for as little as $1 a month, you can do so by clicking on our Patreon link down in the description below. And you can get wonderful perks like, for example, early access to all of our stuff. Sometimes things like this are recorded months in advance. Voice acting lessons from me or Midnight, if you really want to. And you can join our Patreon Discord server. Even though it may look like there's not much going on in there, I am actually checking it on the daily. Thank you for listening to this message, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day.